We've been hearing murmurs of this possibility that the repeal of Obamacare, that individual mandate, could be somehow included in tax reform. What do you make of this? And it would seem to make things really, really messy. Would you agree?
Indeed, we had been hearing murmurs about this for a while. It's been under consideration for several weeks, according to Republican leaders. But Senator McConnell, the Republican leader, suggested more strongly than he ever has before that this will be added to the Senate bill. In other words, repeal of the Obamacare individual requirement that most Americans buy insurance will be added to the tax bill. Now, this raises about $338 billion, or rather saves that much money over 10 years, which is very significant. Republicans need all the money they can get to make their tax bill compliant with Senate rules, but you're absolutely right. It complicates the politics a lot. We are already seeing industry groups mobilize. A joint letter from doctors, hospitals, and insurance companies warn Republicans in Congress against repealing the individual mandate. They say it'll cost millions of Americans coverage and raise premiums. Of course, Democrats have been somewhat more passive, less energized against this tax bill, but mixing healthcare politics with that could change that.
Sahil, have Republicans given any indication of, okay, let's say they got this $300 billion more to work with in tax cuts, where it would go, how it would be allocated, whose bills would be reduced?
Well, in the first decade, Joe, we don't know the answer to that yet. But in the second decade and beyond that, they don't even have enough money to make their bill compliant with Senate rules now. They're already deep in the red, and the repeal of the individual mandate would simply bring their bill closer to compliance with Senate rules. So they don't have a lot to play with in the long run. In the short run, Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky has suggested he wants to use that for steeper middle-class tax cuts. It could be used, for instance, to kind of have a compromise on the state and local deduction that meets the House demands. House Republican leaders are insisting that they're not going to pass a bill with full repeal of SALT, fearing that it'll cost them critical votes among New York and New Jersey members. So the short answer is it's undecided so far what they'll use it for if they do it.
And adding in this repeal of the Obamacare individual mandate would offset some of the costs of the tax cuts. What do Bob Corker and the others like Langford have to say about this? Because they were potentially against the tax bill because of its ability or because it would increase the deficit. Are they pushing for the mandate to be included?
I have not heard either of them push for that to be included. They voted for previous bills that do include repeal of the individual mandate. So they're in favor of the concepts, and the fact that it would raise money is probably a plus for them in that situation, at least on the specific policy impacts of it. They are not really the problem, though. There were 3 senators who cast pivotal votes to kill Obamacare repeal in July: Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, and John McCain. We caught up with all 3 of them today on this issue. Collins and Murkowski both said that this would complicate the prospects of tax legislation. Murkowski pointed out that tax reform is complicated enough without mixing in healthcare politics. Senator Collins said it would be a problem because of the premium increases that would result, and that would be another factor they have to take into consideration. Senator McCain sounded open-minded about it. He said he would review the tax bill in its entirety once it comes out of committee. The Senate Finance Committee has not yet confirmed exactly what it plans to do, but we are expecting a modified chairman's mark from Senator Hatch later today.